Jason Mraz is known for his popular hits. The singer-songwriter followed up his breakout in 2002, The Remedy.
The remedy is the experience. This is a dangerous liaison.
With his Billboard Top 10 hit, I'm Yours.
Our time is short.
The Grammy Award winner has also been busy away from the mic, tending to his avocado farm in San Diego. He's also an investor in a popular West Coast organic food chain.
Well, here's to the hearts that
Not to mention keeping busy with his latest album.
that you're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways.
The new album is called No.
No.
We would love to know, why is it called No?
Well, my last album was called Yes, and I couldn't pass up the opportunity to call this album No. But if you know my music, I'm always looking for the bright side. And KNOW is the positive version of no. And I feel like knowledge is power, if I can go further on why it's called no. We live in the post-truth era, and now where the press is discredited constantly. So how do we know what's true? And I feel, and this is a song on the album, that love is still the answer. So when in doubt, ask what would love do? And that will get us closer to the truth.
Well, here's a fact. This is not fake news.
Okay.
It has now been more than 15 years since The Remedy was topping the charts.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
It's pretty surreal. I'm wowed by it. I really am. I'm wowed. I am grateful that my younger self was committed to that work and all the work of the other albums before today. Because today I stand as an artist that has a great catalog to tour with. And those songs also through the years and through connecting with the audience made me a better person, made me a person of service, and inspired me to write the kinds of songs that can connect people, celebrate the happy times in life, like weddings, birthdays, and graduations, or even help us heal from personal tragedies, illnesses. Those are some of the things that fans have acknowledged about my songs, and so they really transformed me, or at least, like I said, inspired me to be who I am today. So I'm honored to be standing here.
And when people look at your body of work, normally, and I think this is true with a lot of artists, they're cherry picking, they're pulling out what was the top 10 hit here, there, and they look back and talk about something like I'm Yours, which had even more world acclaim.
Sure.
But there were years in between. For example, those two hits, you've got some background in surfing. Is that one way you think about the industry? I mean, you're constantly making music.
Yeah.
But sort of watching those waves throughout?
Definitely. That's a good way to put it. The singer-songwriter has been around since the troubadour, hundreds of years, what do they call it? Bards. The bards that would travel from town to town and share the news and sing the folk songs to all the folks, right? That wave still exists, and I felt like we just came out of a really heavy EDM phase where electronic music was dominating the airwaves. But I say for the singer-songwriter, just wait till that wave comes, and sure enough, it comes back. And also right message at the right time. I'm Yours hit at the time when, I don't know, I guess that message was needed most. And I feel the song I have out right now called Have It All is another one that speaks to young people, and maybe people of all ages, that the future's not written yet, and that we can still write a great future ahead of us.
Speaking of timing, you've had this incredible career with so many different layers to it.
Yeah.
Early on you have this success, and you buy a property, and you become what has been described as the accidental avocado farmer.
That's right.
Explain it to us.
That's right. That was it. I moved out to the country because my heroes did. Dave Matthews, Neil Young, they all live out in the woods, and I thought, I need a little me space. And after a few years, I realized, wow, I'm responsible for these trees. If I don't take care of them, they'll die, or they'll grow really wily and they'll stop producing fruit. So they need to be pruned, they need to be fed, they need to be watered. And the more I got involved, I realized, I'm actually spending a lot of money here to make sure they're organic and to just put in the time to keep them healthy. So it became a bit of a game as well, a little bit of a challenge, because I said, well, how do small farms survive? Because if my water bill and my labor costs outweigh what I'm getting for my fruit, this farm was never going to survive. Luckily, I have my music business, but what do small farmers do? Most farmers have to get loans, and they spend their entire lives in debt. But another farmer told me, diversify. You know, grow other things. Maybe ask around to local restaurants and find out what people might want. And small farms can succeed that way by growing unique things and having relationships with their customers first. So that's what we did. We decided to prune our trees heavily and make space for about 3,000 more trees. So we went from growing just Hass avocados to growing about 40 different fruit varieties.
You went from being the kid who literally grew up on fast food
Yep.
to giving the healthy stuff, the avocados, to chains
That's
like
right.
Chipotle.
To Chipotle and a lot of local restaurants in Oceanside, where I live in California. And also we sell them, we don't ship them internationally yet, but we do sell them on a little website. So that's helped us a lot.
And you talked about diversification. Early in your career, you're known as the coffee house guy in and around San Diego.
Yeah.
And so arguably it comes full circle when you're looking for a new farming opportunity.
Exactly.
And you
I
look at
planted coffee. Yeah. So that was something that was very different that not a lot of farmers in California are growing yet. There's probably only about 30 farms in California total who are growing coffee, and it's still so young that there's only been one crop. Last year was the first crop, and Blue Bottle purchased that and sold out very, very quickly in their stores. So I work with about 30 farms, and we're under an umbrella called Fringe Coffee, because we feel like we're on the fringe here. But we grow a really beautiful product, and it's rare, one of the rarest coffees in the world, because it's the youngest and probably the smallest batch. But I think you'll start seeing it in coffee shops more and more over the next decade.
It is really interesting. I mean, you've had all this success in music, the Grammys, the farming, this healthy lifestyle, though it follows you everywhere you go. You're an investor in Cafe Gratitude,
Sure.
which people on the East Coast maybe don't know as much about,
Right.
but it's becoming an institution for those who are faithful to the chain in cities like Los Angeles and around California.
Sure. Yeah, I was very lucky. The folks at Cafe Gratitude are some of my best teachers and best friends. And I say that because there's really a philosophy behind their restaurant that's more than just sourcing food from farms and regenerative farms, but they recognize their employees. And by doing that, people line up to work there, because you can have your life and work somewhere at the same time. You don't have to put your life on hold to go to work. And so Cafe Gratitude does this in a really beautiful way by checking in with every one of their employees and just listening to them and just making sure that they are seen and heard and loved and supported in their personal life, so that when they work their shift, they bring gratitude. They truly bring love and gratitude to the table that they're serving and to the food that they're making. And the customer feels that. And there's a beautiful energy that not only happens in the restaurant, but happens in the community that restaurant serves. So gratitude is a pretty potent dish.
And this is all just a reminder of the evolution of your career and how that shapes music. I mean, we started by talking about the early success you had, and you're thinking back to that, but clearly all these experiences in your life have influenced the music that you now write.
Absolutely. I only can write about what I know and what I've lived through. And that's why I said people at Cafe Gratitude are some of my best teachers, because of how they show up in love through their work. I realize I can do that too with my work. My work is traveling the world, basically campaigning to promote music. So what's the message in that music? Why not promote something like love and inclusion and healing and hope and pardon, forgiveness? You know, those things are timeless. They're always needed. Yeah, it allows me to be of service with my songs.
Speaking of service, philanthropy is a really important thing to you. Why has it been important for you to give back?
Because when I started my career, I assumed it was starving artist. So I never expected to make money. My only goal was to be able to pay my bills. If I don't have to have a real job, I used to call it, then I'll have success. And I found it very, very early on in the coffee shops. I was able to work enough coffee shop gigs and work at the coffee shop doing sound for other artists that I didn't need to get a regular day job. So to me, I thought, yes, I made it. I made it in the music industry. But I kept having success, even in the coffee shop and selling my recordings and getting invited to play other gigs and getting invited to make records, etc. It just exploded. So I never anticipated that. And I was able to pay off my college. I was able to pay off my parents for their college, loan that they gave me.
How did that feel?
Tremendous. And even to this day, I'm able to gift my parents some joy for their birthdays. It's pretty fun to now how the roles have reversed. I paid some of my friends' bills, and so you get to a point where you're like, okay, I've got enough. Who else needs some support? And through the years, I've met some great orgs and NGOs that have incredible volunteers and incredible humanitarian efforts. They need spotlight more than I do. They need funding more than I do. They need help. They need more volunteers, etc. So philanthropy has given me a way to share and feel good about the success that I've had.